Hi, my name is Kevin Poe and I'm a Dark Ranger. Dark Rangers are a group of people that are sworn to heighten awareness about the spread of light pollution, to protect the night skies for astronomy, for ecological benefit, and for human health. All the artificial light that humanity creates, whether it's street lights or car lights or the burning of fuel at refineries, it all adds to an artificial amount of light in a nighttime world. And this makes it really hard for different kinds of nocturnal animals to survive. One of the very first really good scientific studies about how plants and animals are confused by artificial light was done with sea turtles. A lot of these great big sandy beaches are perfect habitat for sea turtles to lay their eggs. And what happens is mom sea turtle will crawl up above the high tide, dig a hole in the sand, deposit her eggs, and then she covers up the nest. Well, 6 weeks later, the eggs hatch and the little turtles, they crawl up through all that sand, and by the time they reach the surface, the full moon will be rising up out of the Atlantic Ocean. We humans have decided, hey, we want to live on those same beaches too. So the condominiums and the nightclubs on these really popular beaches, they throw out a huge amount of light. And when the baby turtles reach the sand, instead of going towards the ocean where safety is, where the moon is trying to draw them, well, they turn instead and they go the other direction, towards the nightclubs, towards the condominiums. Another one of these conventional wisdoms is that you should leave your building lights on even when nobody's at work, because it makes it harder for bad guys to be moving around inside the building. But this creates a huge problem when you're talking about great big office buildings, skyscrapers, you know, with 10, 20, 30 floors and all the lights left on. Huge problems ecologically because of migratory birds. There's been some good studies to show that birds in an exhausted state, having flown hundreds of miles, mistake a great big tall office building for a tall tree with the moonlight shining behind it. So the dark places between floors, the bird assumes they're the branch of a tree, and wanting a place to rest for a couple hours, they try to land in the plate glass window of the buildings. A lot of research in recent years looking at human health as it relates to light pollution, and it all boils down to how much light you're experiencing while you're trying to sleep. The threshold has been determined to be very, very low, that if you have about 1.5 candles, which is basically 1.5 candles 3 feet away from your face, that kind of light equivalent, then your brain doesn't produce the melatonin it normally would if you were in a nice, healthy, deep sleep. And melatonin for a long time has been known as an important drug for helping you stay asleep, but what recent research has shown is that it's important in a lot of other really health kinds of issues. For example, in isolating free radicals in the body as a method for reducing headaches without thinning blood. But the real exciting thing is that melatonin seems to play a very important role in the fight against cancer as part of an early detection system for the human body. A lot of people hate billboards for obvious reasons, but along big interstates you see them everywhere. Our concern with billboards is not just the aesthetics, but the fact that most billboards have their powerful lights at the bottom, and so then the lights shine up onto the billboard and then bounce off into space, which of course is a huge problem for protecting the darkness of the night sky. But what happens a lot of times is people get into an arms race where if one business has a bright light, the other business needs a bright light, and then the housing or the maybe the town fathers will decide, well, there's so many bright lights on this street, we have to increase the street lighting so we don't have vehicle accidents. So the idea is to set up some urban agreements, you know, whether you want to call them lighting ordinances or just plain cooperative efforts, so that as long as people don't go crazy, then you don't need a huge amount of light for people to safely navigate around their community. What we're trying to do is encourage billboard companies and concerned citizens to move those lights to the top of the billboard so that the light now shines down and then bounces into the ground when it's not going to create as much of a problem. That's one of the things Dark Rangers are always doing with this issue, is trying to find win-win situations, because it's always more palatable for people if they don't have to completely change their lifestyle. They just modify so that, you know, we can have a benefit too.